Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to unpack the origin story of a really fascinating new platform for kids called Cuddleliko. It's a story that starts in a place you would probably never expect, and it asks a question that might just change the way you think about technology for children.
So the founder of Cuddleliko actually spent years building what you'd call mission-critical systems. We're talking about the really heavy-duty digital stuff that our world runs on. Starting with systems for banks and hospitals, where even a tiny glitch, well, it can have some pretty massive consequences.
And it didn't stop there. From there, they moved into this super complex world of large ERP platforms. You can think of these as the central nervous system for huge companies, managing literally everything from supply chains to the financials.
This expertise just kept getting deeper with work on major cloud platforms, the digital architecture that really holds up modern business. It's another huge piece of that enterprise software puzzle.
And it wasn't just about the technical plumbing, It was also about creating the tools for some really high-stakes decision-making, like building the Tableau dashboards that leadership teams use to actually steer their entire organization.
The experience also covered product lifecycle platforms, which manage how complex products get made from the very beginning to the very end. You see the common thread here, right? An absolute demand for handling complexity and just unwavering reliability.
And finally, building airline and travel portals. Yet another place where a system just has to work, no questions asked. I mean, you can't have a booking system go down during the holidays.
So the crucial point in all of this is that this entire background was forged in places where things simply had to work. These weren't fun little side projects or experiments. They were systems where failure was not an option, period.
But after so many years in this super high-discipline world, a question started to take root. A really fundamental question started to bubble up from all that experience.
And this is the question that changes everything. If we pour all this precision, all this care, and all this discipline into systems for managing money and corporate stuff, why on earth don't we apply that same level of rigor to the things we build for our children?
Let's just dig into that for a second. Why isn't a child's emotional well-being treated with this same design discipline as some massive enterprise resource planning system? It's a jarring comparison, for sure, but that's exactly the point.
This whole line of questioning led to a core belief that kids deserve so much better than the chaotic, attention-grabbing apps they're so often handed. They deserve technology that is built with dignity, with safety, and with beauty right at its core.
This powerful realization, well, it marked a fundamental shift. It was a conscious decision to make a pivot, to take a whole career's worth of expertise and point it in a completely new direction.
And what's really interesting here is that none of those hard-won skills were just tossed aside. They were redirected. That ability to build simple, scalable systems, that deep commitment to enterprise-grade reliability, a focus on human-centered design, and years of actually delivering in the real world. All of that expertise was now aimed at a new, child-focused mission. And this illustrates that change in focus perfectly. The goal was no longer about building another dashboard for some executive or another tool for a corporation. The new, singular focus was childhood.
So what came out of this huge shift? This is where that core idea finally turned into something real. This is the birth of Cuddleliko.
So Cuddleliko is an emotional learning and AI companion platform for kids. But the key part, the part that really matters, is the second half of that sentence. It's built with the seriousness of a bank, but designed to feel completely joyful. It's the fusion of those two very different worlds.
Okay, so what does it actually do? What's the tangible impact of this platform? Well, the answer isn't framed as a game or just a simple app, but as fundamental infrastructure for a child's well-being.
At its heart, Cuddleliko guides kids through 5 daily activities. They learn new skills to build their competence. They can journal their thoughts in a totally safe space. They get to play creatively. They learn how to understand their emotions, which is huge. And ultimately, all of these things combined to help them build a strong and healthy sense of self.
And this quote just drives the point home with total clarity. The goal here isn't just to entertain or distract. The goal is to build foundational support, real infrastructure for a healthy childhood.
And the vision here, it goes way beyond just a single product. The ambition is to create a whole new category, to really start a movement around how we approach technology for our kids.
This movement is really built on a few core beliefs. First, that children deserve systems that are reliable and that actually work. Second, they deserve design that respects them, that is calm and beautiful, not chaotic and loud. And finally, they deserve technology that supports their inner world,
not just distracts them from it.
This brings the entire story full circle. The founder says, "I've built platforms where trust was everything." Thinking back to those banking and hospital systems, now I'm building one where trust matters even more.
And that is the ultimate takeaway. Why does all this focus on discipline and safety and trust matter so much more now? The answer is really simple. Because this time, the users are children.
And that's the story of Cuddleliko, a platform born from enterprise discipline, driven by a really powerful question, and dedicated to the idea that magic and growth can and absolutely should go hand in hand.